3-4 tight is a very simple defense that you can use that is really, really still one of the better ways to play defense in college football 26. And let's go ahead and break it down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go auto flip defensive play call off. We're going to keep it literally symmetrical. And I think that's one of the big powers of this. The other thing is here, defensive motion response disabled, option read key on conservative, option pitch key is going to be set to aggressive. RPO read key is set to conservative, and RPO pass key is going to be set to conservative. Now, zone drops all standard, and then the big thing here, safety depth close and safety width pinch. Now, when you're running the 3-4 tight defense, one of the big things you want to go ahead and do here is click on this, set your package here to OLB flip, and then the best thing is we're just going to come out in this hot blitz 3, and we're going to basically set everything up out of this defense. We're going to be adjusting out of this defense. All you have to do to set up the play is you're just going to show blitz your linebackers. As you can see, it puts this linebackers just like this. And there's a couple of different ways in which we can blitz. But at its core here, if you just take a look at the pressure, very simple. All we're going to do is just put this linebacker on the right side in coverage, and then we're going to QB contain. And you take a look here at this pressure, you're going to see that we're going to be able to get kind of a delayed A-gap blitz from that left of screen linebacker. Now, what's really nice about that is basically if they send the running back out, they're going to be getting screamed at every single time. And it's just really simple, right? There's not a whole lot. We can obviously create like a cover 2 on the left side or whatever, but you see here, I mean, we're just going to get pressure, right? That's base protection. That's the best protection in the game. And we're going to be able to get pressure. If they go empty protection, the nice part about this is, again, we just give them, a lot of reasons to get screamed at. You see here, empty protection, same result. It does not matter. You're going to get pressure with this blitz. Now, I wanted to also quickly address what happens if the line, the bunch, or let's say you're playing a formation where the 3 receivers are to the left, okay? Because that is your primary blitzing side. Just want to quickly showcase a couple things. First and foremost, because the primary pressure is coming up the middle, a lot of times you can still run this with that tight end over on that side there. You're still going to be okay. But another thing that we have, another option or another tool in our belt here, is we can go ahead and show blitz. We're going to blitz our user, and really important, you're going to take the linebackers on the left, zone them out. You have to do this in order. You're going to zone them out, and then you're going to slant your D-line to the right. As you see, we've basically recreated the defense just like this without having to flip our play, and you see that this is what the defense now looks like, and we're essentially creating the same thing. The most important thing is this guy has to be on a zone. And you're going to see here that we just basically just recreated the same exact thing. Another thing you could do if you want to is, let's say they flip, you flip. So if they flip, you flip, still show blitz your linebackers, and then you can basically just adjust like this. This will fix that blitz angle. And so you're always going to basically be blitzing off this weak side. And the cool part is it's just a very consistent send 5. Like, it's just a very, very consistent send 5. I really want to encourage you to show blitz, just show blitz your linebackers. I love having these guys backed off because we can just play simple zone coverage here. And then the other thing about this is, let's say we want to drop this backside guy. We could drop this defensive end on the right here into a hook. And what you'll see is the pressure still will be pretty darn good. Okay, so we're able to have the flat, we're able to have the hook, we're able to have the additional coverage, even just sending 4. Another way that we can send 4, and this is what I like to do when they block a running back. If you take a look here, I'm going to block my running back. And a lot of times when you block a running back in this, you see that it's going to target that linebacker. So what I like to do is I'll just send that linebacker. So for example, we might play a defense that looks like this, or, we might even play a defense that looks like, this. Let me re-show blitz the linebackers here. So as you see, we're playing kind of a hybrid coverage, but basically like a cover 3 cloud. And then we have our hook here. But what's nice about this is if we contain, you see that it's going to isolate the running back and the D tackle. And so you see how he gets a 1-on-1, he insta-sheds the running back block, and then he gets the pressure. It's a great way to send 4 out of this, to be able to craft some kind of unique blitzing within the formation. The other thing I was going to say is they flip, you flip. So let's say they flip, we do this, and then we slant our line to the right. What we're going to then do is drop these linebackers out into coverage here. And what you're going to now see is basically the same essential strategy here. And sometimes this thing just comes in, as you can see right there. So I like to send 4 that way. Another way in which you can send 4 in this game is if they're not going to untarget your user, you can send 4 and have a lot of success. So if you take a look at here, if I move my user, as you see, just a little bit to the inside, what I can then do is I can essentially hold the guard with my user. They don't want to untarget you. I'm just telling you that right now because there's a way we can take advantage of it, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But as you can see here, we're sending 4 and the guard is targeting my user. So we're going to send the pressure, and you see that this blitz comes in consistently. Now, the next thing that I wanted to go over really quickly here is, what if they untarget your user? What if they start to catch on and they start to untarget your user? One of two things. Either you can blitz off the opposite side. So we could do this right here. And they untarget my user, and they're still going to struggle to block this blitz. As you can see, we get the pressure off the left. That's one way to do it, right? You just send the pressure off the opposite side. That's the beauty of a symmetrical formation, is they can't really lock in 100% on what you're doing because you're making every single defense look identical, which is the biggest key to defense in my opinion. The other thing, though, that we could do is we could do this right here. So we're going to send 5, but what we're going to do is we're going to stay on this guy. And because we're staying on this guy, what's going to happen is they're going to untarget this guy, and we're going to hit left on the D-pad, and at the snap of the ball, we're going to switch stick to the hook curl, and when we switch stick, the game is going to leave our user in the blitz, and he's going to basically come in. You cannot switch stick with the right joystick. You have to use the D-pad. So what you're going to see is I'm going to switch stick right here with the D-pad, and you see that we're still able to craft kind of some decent pressure off of that formula. So I'll show that one more time. And we'll cover that one more time here. So again, we're just going to drop this guy out. The biggest thing here, if you want to contain, be my guest. You don't have to, but if you want to, be my guest. And then I would just mid-read him or whatever, spy him. It doesn't really matter. You just want to basically make sure that you're switch sticking to him. So anyway, here you see this is what it looks like. And then I'm going to untarget my user. Let's see if I can actually get it here. Untarget this guy right here. And then again, at the snap of the ball, I'm basically just going to let the game run in. And then you see here, I'm going to switch off, and you see how he's getting the pressure in that regard as well. So it's another way in which we can kind of change the blocking formula to make it less likely that they're going to be able to actually pick us up. And then the last thing that I think is really, really good in this game is a send 3 off the quarterback's throwing hand. So what you're going to do is you're going to use a spy on this left side here, and then we're just going to send, we're basically just going to sit in a send 3. So as you see, we're only sitting 3, but if they're not untargeting my user, sometimes we can get this pressure to come in, and when we have the spy there for when they try to roll out, we're just going to click the right joystick in and send the spy at the quarterback. 3-4 tight is really good because it's a symmetrical formation, because you can flip it, because you don't have to flip it, but still can solve problems with the different crashes and things like that. And also, it's a good formation, in my opinion, because it's probably the most consistent blitzing formation in the game right now because of its capability to get send 4 pressure off both edges, ability to get send 5 pressure with the A gaps on both sides. And then if we ever really wanted to, we could send 6. And the way that I like to send 6 is just like this right here, pretty much identical, because the running back will block the linebacker. I'm going to hold the guard. My whole job here is basically to try to hold this guard. And you see a lot of times we're still going to get pretty decent pressure. So we can send a lot of pressure from this, a little pressure from this, and have a lot of flexibility defensively within a symmetrical formation to adjust to whatever the offense throws our way.